And welcome back again. I'm John Pawlak, your host for this second segment with Francine Winters with us. And we're going to have a little treat in the second portion. We're going to have a little skit. And Francine will give us a little lead-in on what it's all about.
Well, we have President's Day coming up. So we thought that would be a good time to introduce one of our skits, as he said, one of our little scenes. This scene was actually something that the kids brainstormed a number of years ago, but this particular year, because of all of the controversy about whether our county is going to approve marijuana and our state is going to approve it for medical, all that. So the coalition said, we want you to kind of, talk about marijuana a little bit in some way. And so we had this skit. It's a little controversial because it is Abraham Lincoln, but it's kind of an interesting little take on it, and controversy is not all bad, right?
No, well, we know Abe's been a vampire slayer too,
so right. Anyway,
there should be no surprise.
Here's our little section. Yeah, they're taking a little poetic license with Abe's life. Yeah, yes. Hopefully he's not rolling over in his grave. Yeah. So we'll do this little skit for you, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit about it.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Enjoy.
I thank you for your advice on this difficult subject. Signing this will change many people's lives, but will also deepen the divide between us and our Southern brothers. I must think on this.
Throughout history, dedicated individuals have taken action in moving us towards a new path of equality, justice, and freedom for all. But today, some of our most brightest minds are getting lost to substance abuse. So we wondered what would happen if our greatest heroes had just given up and gotten high when things got hard.
Good evening, Mr. President. You seem quite stressed right now.
The world's weight is heavy on my shoulders.
I've got something here that will help.
It'll solve these troubling problems I face?
No.
It's some kind of magic to make my problems disappear.
Oh, no. The problems will still be there. But you just won't care anymore.
Sir, I'm the President of the United States. It's my job to care. People are counting on me.
But if you didn't, just for a little while, here, try this.
Sir, if you expect this to catch on, you'll have to do something about the taste. It's terrible.
But do you still care about the war and slavery?
Not so much.
Here's the Emancipation Proclamation abolishing slavery, sir. Sir, aren't you going to sign this?
What? I don't know. I am so hungry.
If Abraham Lincoln had just sat back on the couch with some crumpets and tea, would our world be the same today? What about George Washington, or Martin Luther King, or Rosa Parks? What about you? What would you do? Where would you start?
Ooh, that was cool. He faded in from black, just like he said.
Yeah.
So we hope that you enjoyed that segment.
Shall I introduce my actors? I mean, I can give their names.
Yes, you can.
Yes, okay. So Travis Kessler was Abraham Lincoln, and the devil was played by Adrian Grimaud, and the clerk and narrator was played by Colton Hall. These are all young men who go to Pahrump Valley High School and are part of the Methodologies project. I think they're actually all also part of the improv group that plays there. If you've never seen the improv group, you really need to go over there to Pahrump Valley High School when they perform and and take that in, because laughing is good for your health. Right, and you will laugh.
They're doing improv right back.
They are, yes. Yeah. They're in the booth.
They're like monkeys back there, yeah.
But yes, it was, like I said, it was a little controversial to have Abe doing a Stony Brownie, but we thought it was a little better than having him, like smoke or something. So, but we thought that was an interesting idea that the kids had about, what would happen if we lost our best and brightest minds, as in some ways we do, to substance abuse. And some of the leaders throughout our history just gave up and and didn't get involved and didn't step forward and take a stand. Because it's not always easy to do that, to be that one voice that says, that's not right, this is, and it's really important now. The first segment was about, running away and human trafficking, and we've got a little bit of talking about how, the issue of women and how we're treating our young girls and our women. And so being an ally, we've recently at the coalition had a training on being an ally and things about date assaults and date issues and things like that, because the statistics on sexual assault between people that are dating are really high. They're very bad, and so we're trying to raise that awareness. So it seems like it's a pretty big deal. Yeah.
Well, I used to do, when I would be counseling, when I was an intern for West Care, I would remind some of our, during some of our group sessions about all the entertainers we've lost.
Yeah.
They would go towards indulging in too many drugs, and they had idiosyncrasies when they go on stage and things like that. And then they would take certain things to calm them down, or they would be at parties, and these things would be very prevalent to them, just like the devil giving the Abe that. And then we've lost so many wonderful people, so many brilliant people, and so I know where you're coming from with that. Believe me.
Yeah. Well, one of my personal soapbox is that I think everybody is really good at something. We just have to keep them exploring long enough to figure out what that something is.
Yes.
And the idea that you have the character and the guts it takes to stand up and say, I don't want to do that, or I don't think you should be doing that. You're at a party and somebody's taking a girl into the back room, and she's maybe a little worse for substance abuse or something. She's drank, which she shouldn't be doing, but it happens sometimes. And somebody has to be there to stand up and say, no, she's not going with you. No, she's not. And it's not a comfortable thing for a young person necessarily to do, but if we as a community teach them that is good character and that's part of who we expect a young adult to become, that kind of strength, and we hold that up as the standard, then we will be able to grow those kinds of young people here. And of course, that's what we want to do. We have some fine young people here. We have a wonderful rural community, and whether they stay, which we hope that we do get them to stay some, or whether they go somewhere else, we want them to have that same wonderful small town feeling that they were able to get here, where what you do matters because you're not invisible. It shows, and other people are going to notice that, and so you need to be doing the right thing, and then they learn that it doesn't matter whether someone's watching or not. I should still be doing the right thing.
Exactly. Yes.
When you grew up, did you live in a big city, or it was like oh no, if I do this wrong, my grandma is going to hear about it?
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yes.
Oh, okay.
It was Eastern European families. They're rather strict and stuff, so there are a great deal of family values and societal values, religious values. It was in Chicago, so you had these different groups. It was very closely knit, so everybody knew what everybody else was doing over there. Yeah. So you're taking me back a few years. Yes.
Well, but that's the point. Is that if you grew up in that. Isn't that why we live in a small town? We still want our young people to have those kinds of, moral fiber, I guess, or the character to make good choices.
But it takes just more than it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, so that's an important thing that I always say. You have the school, you have your parents, you have the peers, you have the school. Did I say school?
You did.
Yes.
But also church groups are a big protective
Yes.
factor. Your, like you said, your peers, what they're doing, what they're saying, whether they believe certain things or not, whether it's okay to lie. The other day, we had kids doing positive action in class, and which is a good program that teaches some life skills. And they were talking about how they treated their friends, and some of the things they said, I was keeping my mouth shut. But I was like, really? That's how you're going to treat your, but it was a good discussion. We had a fine young AmeriCorps, Trevor Craddy, running the group, and
Yes.
and I was proud of him. He was very non-judgmental, and it was great because I think that as they evolved, the young people began to talk more seriously about, because at first they just want to be silly, about why they treat each other that way and how they want to be treated, because so much goes back to that. How do you want to be treated? And how do you want other people to treat? I mean, therefore, how do you treat them? I guess.
Oh, there's another segment of society since we were younger too. It's called the internet too. You have
That's true.
Facebook and everything else, and you have a tendency to act a little bit different on the internet than you do in person.
Well, and it's that same feeling of anonymity, whether it's a true anonymity or not. That happens in a big city, but in a smaller town. You hear people say we go out to baiting, and they're like, "Oh, well, everybody knows everybody's stuff." Well, it kind of happens here too. They know people know who's doing what, and your reputation matters. Even if with your own child, once they tell you a lie, it's really hard to get that credibility back. You need to be who you say you are and act and do the right thing, each time. Because once that slips, what else have you got? Everybody's going to always be questioning whether you're telling the truth. They're never going to truly trust you again.
So we
Yes?
have one more minute.
You
One
do?
more minute left. So let's wrap this up. You're going to take this on the road to Amargosa.
Yep.
Round
Amargosa.
Mountain.
Round Mountain on the 13th of March at the community center. There's no admission or anything. I'm not sure. You'll have to check and see. We haven't set a time. It'll be like a 6:30 or 7 o'clock curtain. But a great thing to bring your family to. Then at the mining park in Tonopah, same kind of a thing, 6:30 or 7. We're grant driven, so a free thing. And if you need something to begin to discuss things with your kids, this is a great chance. It isn't just about marijuana. There's a whole array of subjects, and there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughing, and so there's a lot to talk about those. So sometimes it gives you that point.
Okay, he's giving us the little squeeze, so that's
Okay.
the end. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.